GM, everyone, and welcome to another episode of FOMO Hour. Today is Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. Folks, Upsimber is getting rolling. Another day of big green on the board. Today, we're talking about how we're trading the momentum and if it will continue. I'm your host, Tyler D. I've got Logan in the house with me. Good morning, Logan.
Hey. Good morning. I might have to keep coming back if prices are going to go up a lot each day.
Indeed. Yeah, we're going to have to keep you on the show if we're moving 5% per day, my friend, because we are on quite the roll. I'm seeing a question in the audience. How's the snow in Chicago? Thank you for asking. We got another 1 to 2 inches in the past day. So we're up to about 14, 15. The roads are clear, so it's very easy to get around. They're very prepared for it up here. My kids have not missed any school. They, in fact, go to school in snow pants and snow jackets and play outside in this. So they're still out multiple times per day, even though it's below freezing and there's a lot of snow on the ground. So they're loving it. The parents, not quite as much. But what we are loving, this crypto market. And a nice little pump this morning, though it is retracing a bit. We'll get into it here in just a few. What are we talking about on today's show? Well, first, no Mando, he's unable to make it. And Farouk, of course, is in Dubai. He'll be back with us on Friday. So it's going to be me and Logan today and tomorrow. But what are we talking about? We're going to talk about the market moving here this morning. It looks like a little bit of a short squeeze on Bitcoin, but it got sold off. Bank of America, Vanguard's impact, latest in the ETFs. Kevin Hassett now looks like he's going to be the next Fed chair, 85%. We'll talk about what was moving overnight, this upcoming wet ICO sale, these private market coins pumping on Hyperliquid. We'll check in on that synthetic comp. I've got a few trades open myself. We'll check in on those. Logan's going to walk us through ETH Fusaka, what it is, why it matters. Binance Junior, your kids need a crypto account. Binance has you covered. We'll talk about that. Kalshi raising at $11 billion. And some NFT news as well, if we've got time. Before we get into it, shout out to our partners. First up, EigenCloud. EigenCloud, built on EigenLayer security, extends crypto-grade verifiability to any application. From AI agents to prediction markets to on-chain games, build anything, verify everything. And Wallet Connect powers billions in monthly volume across wallets, apps, users, and institutions. That blue logo, it's everywhere. An icon of trust in crypto, as recognizable as Visa at the checkout. If you want to learn more, follow at Wallet Connect on X and Telegram to stay ahead of what's next. All right, well, let's get into it. I will fire up the screen share for those who are in the stream, and everyone's in the stream, because there are no more spaces. We are stream only now, live on X and Kick. So taking a look at the board here to start, Bitcoin up 3% since yesterday's show, 92.9. We briefly hit like 93.6 10, 15 minutes ago. So we were really moving. ETH up 6%, back over 3,100. BNB closing on 900. It's up 4%. And Solana up 6% as well, 141.50. Taking a look at some of the top movers, Sui was the top mover. They were up 24% this morning. Now looks like they're about 14% now. Chainlink up 12%, had the ETF go live with Grayscale yesterday. ENA, Pepe, Virtuals, Aave rounding this out. So a lot of big 8 to 12+% movers. There's some big movers on the meme board as well. Perhaps we'll talk about that. Looking at TradFi, so this is what's actually interesting about this crypto pump. Stocks were red this morning. It looks like they may be recovering a bit. NASDAQ is flat. The Dow is up a quarter point. Microsoft shared some bad AI sales figures, and that sent Microsoft stock down, and some of the other stocks tumbled a bit as well. It looks like we got some bad private payroll data. Private jobs fell by 32,000 in November. It was expecting a 10,000 job increase, so that was a miss. But doesn't seem to be having a huge impact on markets, at least today. Does seem like it would be a factor in favor of a potential rate cut, which is now looming, December 10th. So we are 1 week out from the most important FOMC of our lives, coming up December 10th. We have a rate cut now at 87%. And what a wild swing this has been over the past few weeks, where it was down at like 30%. Now 3x the odds. I want to check in on where we're at for end of 2026. And the reason this matters is Trump basically wink, wink, nod, nod said Kevin Hassett's going to be the next Fed chair. Polymarket's got it 83% with $1 million in volume. Fairly substantial for a market like this. So Hassett, the clear favorite, though. I don't know that we're going to find out. Maybe we'll find out this year. I don't know if you've been following that too closely, Logan.
No.
Not a lock that he'll announce it but before end of the year, but it seems like he's getting closer and closer to just kind of tipping his hand. But Kevin Hassett, ex-Coinbase, very crypto-friendly, also seems to be Trump-friendly, and I think market thinks more likely to cut rates. And let's take a look at this. So we're at 375 right now. So 54, 70, we're 75% to get at least 3 more cuts by end of next year. And we're 50% to get 4 more cuts. So that's a lot. So we are really looking at a big cutting cycle ahead of us into 2026, which is, again, a part of my bull case for 2026. We talked about it yesterday. We don't need to rehash that convo. But this is a stark difference between what crypto was facing in 2022, 2023 than it is in 2026. So I remain bullish. A couple of my quants, so Stowe saying that low spike off the headline is now your bullish invalidation. And he's saying as long as we don't trade below 91.7, we're going to grind up. If it does dip below, we're going to BART the whole move, meaning we're going to lose all these recent gains. Then our female quant, Farouk, my favorite, she is still calling 100K. She called to reclaim the yearly open, which I believe we just did before the show. The yearly open right around 93.5. And then she's calling for over 100K next. So short term looks good, though. I do have to caveat something that I don't agree on with my favorite female quant. She is still calling for 75K after that. So she says it's going to go to 100K. Everyone goes crazy, and then back to 75K. So that'll be painful.
That would be painful.
If it indeed happens, though, maybe we'll be a little bit more numb to the pain this time. So I've been looking more at some of these charts, and it does look like when you get these rebounds and you start to put the bottom in, there is often that one time where it does this wick lower, and then that marks the final bottom. So of course we'll see if history repeats itself, but at least near term, more and more folks on the timeline seem to be getting bulled up that at least a very hyper local bottom is in. And checking in on the synthetics trading comp. So we are partnered with them. We're going to keep covering them on a daily basis. I'll go through my trades here in a second. Lupify in first. He's already up 160,000. He's 4X's account in 2 days. KBM is on his heels with 167K. So for reference, everyone starts with $50,000 in their account. And then you're trading. This is fake funds. It is not real, but it trades like it's real. And he's already 3x his account and is in second. And there are some big prizes up for grabs. I don't know if folks realize this, but season 2 is open to everyone on crypto Twitter. So Logan, if you wanted to get in, you just have to deposit 10,000 SUSD in the Synthetics pre-deposit vault, and you get in the comp. That's not just you, Logan. That's anyone out there. So if you think you can beat Lupify, KBM, me, go ahead and put a little bit of capital up and try. And the prize pool is good. We covered this yesterday. But 200K for first, second and third get 100K, fourth and fifth get 50K. Right now there's, 200 people, 213. Some more are entered, but we've already got, wow, this many people have already busted. How did you already bust in this market? I guess you were max short.
Yeah.
This has been an easier market to trade since the synthetics comp opened. And I was sitting on my hands. It was a mistake because I missed the huge up move. So I felt a little bit late. I was a little chasey, but I do have 3 trades on. So I have 50x Bitcoin long on from 92.6. Opened it last night. It's basically flat now. I opened a Fartcoin long this morning, 25x, because it retraced that move, right? So it hit 38 cents yesterday. It was around 32, 33. I'm open at around 33.7 here this morning. It's down a couple $100 and then sold. So I went 30x long Sol as well. I was kind of debating between ETH and Sol. I thought Sol would be the faster horse in a Bitcoin up move. So I'll set them up about $1,500, not a whole lot. And now I'm thinking about my next move here, and I'm not sure I have it. Like I like these longs. I think long is still the near term play. And near term, folks, like I'm being very hyper focused on like the next 6 hours, 12 hours. Like that's what we're doing for this perps trading game. You know, I missed the big move in some of these alts. I guess ETH. Maybe ETH is my next play, but it's already up 8%. So it just lost 3,100. I feel like to really make a splash, I need to be taking a move on something a little bit more downstream. So I don't know. I have to think about this one. Pump. 31. We talk about pump all the time.
I think
am I going to keep coming back to the pump well? Yeah. What would you do if you're in my shoes, Logan?
Yeah, I mean, I think these Solana related alts are interesting, leading into Breakpoint and stuff. I don't know what to say. We talked about pump yesterday specifically, but you got to imagine there's some, and maybe things feel priced in, whatever. Solana, of course, has not performed admirably since January. Everybody's well aware of that, but you got to imagine there is some level of announcement stuff that's not quite priced in yet that people are going to get a little hopium based on, even if it's a short, real quick burst, right? From whatever, 140 to 152 or something like that. I mean, those are the types of moves that you're looking to capitalize, those quick volatile moves in a competition like this, at least in my opinion. So that's where I think maybe a little bit of attention should be paid. The other thing that you have to consider, of course, is the game theory about playing against your opponents here. Maybe you don't need to so early in this competition, but you gotta be, especially if you need to make up ground, you got to be taking trades that other people aren't taking. Yeah. That's not to suggest that this may be a popular trade heading into this, heading into what I fear many would think is some level of headline catalyst at the very least.
When is Breakpoint?
I don't know. It's coming up, isn't it? Isn't it always end of? Let me look it up before I'm on a Breakpoint.
I need a soul hat. If anyone's listening,
I noticed your Ethereum hat. It looks really nice.
That's for Husaka, which we'll cover in a bit. Thought I'd have to bust out the ETH hat.
I don't know why I can't find it.
You're kind of talking me into it a little bit. So I'm currently 30x long Sol.
11. Sorry, it's next week. It's the 11th through the 13th in Abu Dhabi. So what the competition goes till the end of? Is it till the end of next week?
Yeah, it's there's about 12 days left. So
got it. Okay. So, and there's a timer on this Solana website that says 7 days, 14 hours. So about 8 days until Breakpoint. So, Breakpoint is going to be squarely in play during this competition. I don't know I have no clue if the data actually backs it up. Anecdotally, I seem to remember Solana going up either pre or during Breakpoint, or at least that's something that I feel like I've heard has happened. So I don't know, but I imagine all the folks in this competition, crypto Twitter natives are well aware of that narrative as well, I would imagine.
All right. So I'm taking the 30x Sol long off and I'm putting a 50x.
Oh boy.
If we lose, this is on you, folks. I hope you're ready for that. All right. Oh, we're down a quick $1,200. Thanks, Logue. We're facing a 131 liquidation price. I like 131. I think we'll hold. I'll look at maybe putting a stop loss in after the stream. But we're gonna have fun with this synthetics comp and look to maybe try to put a trade on each day. We'll see. We'll see how things progress. Now coming back to markets a bit. Zeke has been one of the more interesting movers on the day. So it went back down to about 310 yesterday. That seems to be like it feels like it might be putting in a bottom. It's trying to put in a bottom around 300. It was around there. Let's see, most of last evening when I woke up, it was back 330, 340. So folks who caught that caught a nice little 10% move in a handful of hours. It's a tricky one, right? Like I zoomed out, like trying to catch knives on a trade that's over is a bad thing to do. If the Zeke trade is not over, then it's pretty interesting at this level. We talked about this yesterday, but it's down 60% from all-time high. That's a pretty nice drawdown.
Oh, it's down much more than that from all-time high.
Sorry, from local high.
90%. I was actually just looking it up. 90% from all-time high. $3,191.93. 2016 per CoinGecko.
Sheesh. Yeah, I think that's also something that jumped out to me about Zeke was Bitcoin's going down here. Oh no. This cycle's high isn't even above where it went in the 2017 cycle. So it went all the way to 950. So there with the crazy blow off top, with all the perps and leverage, we still didn't get to a new all-time high, which surprised me. Which also thinks maybe this still has legs in it. But alas, not making a move on Zeke yet, but it's one top of my list I'm watching closely. One of the more interesting moves, if you saw this, was in the hyperliquid HIP3 world. Now, I just tweeted this out before the show. Where is this? Yeah, so Anthropic up 55%, SpaceX up 45%, and OpenAI up 28%. So more of your private market. So these are not tradable stocks. These are private companies. And now you can trade them, I believe, via Ventuals on Hyperliquid HIP3. And oh my, these are just gigantic moves. So I haven't really had a chance to dig in. Maybe these were just mispriced. Like nothing changed in Anthropic's valuation that it would have shot up 50% in a day. So I don't know if more folks found this, if it's just more of a coordinated pump, or maybe it just launched incorrectly. It hasn't been live that long. It's been live for about a week or so, but some crazy moves. So pay attention if you're in the hyperliquid streets, these private market tokens. I mean, if you had 3x leverage on with some of these, you had 100% gains in a day. So some big action over there.
So on Anthropic in particular, I'm looking at an article from must have been overnight on Decrypt about the formal groundwork for IPO. And I'm seeing a valuation number here. It's pursuing a private round that could lift its valuation above 300 billion. So I don't know I can't tell if you're just looking at your screen what this level.
I would assume this is 500 billion.
Okay. Well, that seems a little.
So they're betting it's higher. So it was trading right around 325, which seems perhaps in line with where it was. I mean, OpenAI we've seen floated. So I think the last rounds were at 500 billion. I think they were talking about IPOing above 1, or above a trillion, I guess. Yeah. And so it was trading around 680, 700, and now shot up to 850. Even though OpenAI now has more headwinds than ever, right? With Gemini and Gemini's success. I don't know if that necessarily means OpenAI takes a huge haircut, but it's a little bit of a trickier trade, perhaps. This is also kind of all over the place. So the Oracle's at 750, the Mark's at 848. So I think be careful. Do your research before making big plays on these private market tokens. Other than that, let's see what else. Big movers on the day.
Yeah, one macro thing I wanted to, if you don't mind trying to check here, is yesterday we talked about the Bitcoin back to 100K market on Polymarket. It was at 8 to 1 or something. That has to have shifted, right?
Let's see.
That's
Bitcoin
pretty
price in 2025.
right.
Oh, it's up big. Wow.
Maybe I'm
Yeah,
misremembering,
this
but
is what it was. It was right around a coin flip yesterday, right?
oh yeah, okay. One of them was at 110 we were looking at. Okay. All right. So yeah, not too much of a change, which is a little surprising. I think it was like 44% or something, maybe.
I mean, it's doubled since Monday, right? When Bitcoin was at 85K. Yeah, this is an interesting one, right? Like if you want to express an opinion on Bitcoin going to 100K in the next few weeks, but you don't want to trade it on leverage because you don't know what the journey looks like, you can get 2x on your money with a 8% move. Hard to beat that, right? So that's basically the equivalent of 12x leverage, which I think a lot of folks aren't going to want to touch. 105 is interesting, but that's above female quants level. I think there's a pretty big barrier there, like 102, 103, that makes 105 a little trickier. And so while the odds of an all-time high at 3%, so 30 to 1 that we hit a new all-time high in the next 4 weeks. I mean, even I, as a huge bull, I think that one looks pretty tough. Wow, this was 80%, 85% to happen back on October 6th. So a lot has changed. Another macro piece is just popping into my mind. So we haven't got the IBIT results, unfortunately. So if folks haven't been following Bitcoin ETF inflows too closely, basically IBIT reports one day lagging. So the numbers that were reported from last night are actually from Monday. So IBIT had 120 million in net inflows on Monday. Overall, we do know that the Bitcoin ETFs did 5 billion in total volume yesterday. That doesn't mean inflows, but huge volume on the day that Vanguard opened it up and on the back of that Bank of America news. I'm anxiously awaiting to see what the IBIT numbers look like. I think they're going to be big. They're going to be splashy. And I think that actually is going to be a fairly important signal for the market, right? Like if we see 600 million plus IBIT day on the back of the Vanguard Open, I think that's going to lead to a bit of confidence from folks that, okay, the Vanguard headline is real. And now there actually is a new buyer pool.
Yeah. I didn't mention this yesterday, but anecdotally, I've been talking to my future father-in-law a little bit about crypto. He's had his interest peaked recently. And this is the type of stuff that he needs to buy. You know, he's not buying. I don't think he's really that close to buying, but he needs folks like Vanguard to open access quite literally for logistical purposes, right? To potentially invest. But then also too, it's just the further validation of like, okay, the real people who have been here all, forever and are deemed by many normal investors out there in the world as like the foremost experts on this stuff. You need them to say it's okay to invest in these things and to offer those products to people. And so, yeah, I don't know if or when he'll finally take that plunge, but this is the type of stuff that you really, really do need to onboard folks to get more people investing in Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's why we keep talking about it, right? Like it really is a big deal. And I feel like for the crypto natives, some are against it because it represents, the TradFi takeover, the institutional takeover of crypto. Others like, okay, yeah, we know, we get it. But like there are so many folks out there who are on the fence who just really like if their investment manager calls them up and says, okay, B of A is saying 1 to 4%. Are you comfortable going 1 to 2%? They're just going to say yes.
Yeah, exactly. They need somebody to tell them what to do. I mean, they're no different than we are here, right? Looking for alpha from our friends and everything. I mean, like everybody wants somebody to nudge them in the right direction or in a direction, even right or wrong. And that's what this is. That's, these global institutions are saying, okay, here's a new product offering. And you have, what the Bank of America stuff from 2 days ago or whatever, like 1 to 4% is totally fine. 1 to 4% from all these people adds up. And eventually that may flip to 2 to 5%, 5 to 10%, whatever. But you gotta move from 0%. And these people are starting to nudge them in that direction.
Listen, I'm in a group chat with some fellas who will take on any single trade that Mando recommends. So if he says to go long Bitcoin or short or long Zeke, they're going to do it, right? And then that's his reach, and it's beyond our group chat. Bank of America has a pretty big reach too. And I think this is a really important signal. Even someone like my mom, like I don't tell my mom to buy crypto. Like we have enough exposure as a family, given what I do. But she talks about it around the holidays. She hasn't really jumped in. I think if someone independently told her to jump in, she would do it.
Sorry. My mom thinks Bitcoin is a scam. Sad. It's a passing fad. I've heard it for the last like 6-7 years that it's a passing fad. So maybe one day she'll be right.
The fad hasn't passed yet. I'm checking on this MYRIAD market integrated in this article. So Bitcoin's next move pumped to 100K or dumped to 69K. That's showing 80%. I wonder if that's updated. That's actually a very interesting market. Let's check in over on the MYRIAD board.
I think that's right. An interesting one. They have a similar pump and dump for Ethereum, which yesterday I think was still sitting at the dump when I had written up some stuff about Fusaka yesterday. So I wonder. It's come down even more. Okay, it was around 60% when I was writing it. 60% in favor of the dump.
This is an interesting one. ETH's next move pumped to 4K or dumped to 2,500. So we were at 2,700 on Monday, which was pretty close. But even then, like what were the odds? So it was okay. So it was 75% peak in favor of ETH 2,500. If you have to make a bet on this line right now, which side do you take?
I'd pick 2,500. It's much just on. I mean, it's so much closer, isn't it? What is it?
3250 would be the true 50-50.
Yeah,
so the market's leaning a little bullish here.
Yeah, I think I'd pick 2,500.
Sad. I mean, that seems like it could be the correct side. I'm curious, where are we at right now? 5. So Bitcoin 92.4, ETH 30. ETH is still hanging out at 30.80. It's a big move to 4K. Like the move from Bitcoin 93 to 100 doesn't seem that crazy. ETH 3,100 to 4K seems much tougher. So that's a full 30% move. Tom Lee's got 900 million. Is that enough?
I don't think so. Tom Lee has been relentlessly buying for, ages now. And of course, at one point in time, it really looked like Tom and, there's a handful of other, we don't talk about them ever, but there are other Ethereum DATs too. Sharplink, ETHZilla, right? There were a lot of firms buying ETH relentlessly throughout the summer. That definitely helped. And now it's just Tom, basically.
They're all out of funds, right? And and their stocks are going down, and their ATMs.
They're all doing different stuff too. You had ETHZilla, right? With actually sold Ethereum to purchase shares. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, but basically, Tom is the only one buying ETH left, to my knowledge.
This is basically do you think the true bottom is in market, right? So if the bottom is in, I don't think we revisit 2,500. The bottom is not in, we will. But for ETH to get to 4K, I think you need Bitcoin basically at new all-time high.
Isn't that wild? That's why. I mean, I don't disagree, but that it's sort of wild just because you had Ethereum literally knocking on the door of 5,000, right around the time that Bitcoin is making its all-time high above 126 as well. But it does feel like you need that major Bitcoin outperformance just to even pull Ethereum back to, what we would have called a nice level. I don't know.
This feels like one that could be open for a while.
Yeah.
Kind of like the legacy Bitcoin 100 to 120. So we'll see. I'm sure we'll talk about it more. But some timely ETH news, and you covered it. Forward Decrypt. Fusaka. The upgrade is going live today. Tell us about it, Logie.
Yeah, so this is supposed to be the next big upgrade from Ethereum. Excuse me, piggybacking on Pectra, which was in May, I believe. But essentially, the Fusaka, which has a longer name that I'm not remembering, but it's in the story there, is going to increase blob capacity to help scaling the L1 and the L2 networks. If you're super technical, you can dive into the piece, and there's actually a Learn article as well as a crypt that goes into depth about what's going on here. But this is going to help, continue to scale, to make things cheaper, to make things faster. 8x, I believe, is the blob capacity increase from this alone. So the big thing is one particular Ethereum improvement proposal called PeerDOS. I don't remember the number of the EIP, but that's in there. But that's the big unlock here. And I spoke with a few folks. There's that quote from one of the launch videos as well, but I spoke with a few builders, Nick Johnson from the Ethereum name service. There's a quote up there, but just, continuing to scale this stuff to allow for, the institutional adoption that everybody wants, while maintaining the focus on decentralization, all the key foundations of Ethereum. And if you go back, Vitalik, there's a quote at the bottom there as well. Vitalik has said that this, particular upgrade is, kind of the key to scaling the L1 as well. It doesn't really feel like at this point in time, if you're an on-chain user, you may not feel like you even need the L1 to scale, right? Because things are so cheap. But if you are forecasting, the major onboarding of folks in Ethereum becoming the super global computer, you do need it to scale if and when that activity returns. And this is ultimately, hopefully going to propel the network to allow for that stuff. There's another update already, prepared for 2026. It's in development, I think, called Glamsterdam. But this is the
Glamsterdam.
Yeah. I wonder if that'll get renamed. I'm not exactly sure. It's on the Ethereum Foundation roadmap, but yeah. But just more stuff on scaling the L1, and PeerDOS in particular, pertains to the way that it gets data from the L2 networks and the way that it verifies it and stores data. It doesn't store it permanently. So again, it's making things a little bit cheaper and faster as well. So highly technical, as all these upgrades are, but continue to make things faster, cheaper, easier for users. I mean, those are the kind of the core, like, hey, how does it affect me if I'm an on-chain user at this point in time?
Yeah, but my takeaway was the primary impact was scaling the L2s, which my first reaction was, is that kind of in against Vitalik's latest commentary that you can just build on the L1? But kind of listening to you talk through it, the two do go hand in hand. So you scale the L2s, it frees up the L1 even more for building directly on Ethereum. And another quick seg to another looming trend is tokenization, right? And this is a little bit more of a boring topic, but folks may have missed this. Larry Fink and COO Goldstein from BlackRock published a big piece in The Economist about tokenization and how it's the next major evolution in market infrastructure. I don't know for sure. I did not read the Economist piece there. I read the Decrypt piece about it. There's no mention of Ethereum. So I don't know if they name dropped Ethereum specifically. But they're really pounding the table on tokenization now.
Yeah.
Cycle transition, words like revolution being thrown around, overhauling the financial system. And I mean, I think all of us who are more crypto native understand the benefits and the upside of blockchain versus traditional systems. And they're talking about everything from stocks, bonds, real estate, and more coming via this tokenization craze. And I mean, Larry was kind of led the way for TradFi for Bitcoin. And now IBIT's one of the most successful ETFs in the world. Vanguard's capitulating. Bank of America's finally giving their portfolio allocations. It seems like he's also leading the way on tokenization.
Yeah. It is boring, but I mean, I've wrestled with this myself about how I'm feeling just about crypto, its future, etc. The boring stuff is the stuff that's gonna, it's gonna be payments. It's gonna be a tokenization of stuff. it's the pathway to getting people here and getting real money here. And once you entrench yourself with all the real money and the real systems, that's how you stay sticky and you let, more of the fun stuff stick around, I think. So it's boring, but it's necessary. And all of these players are doing it. One headline from yesterday kind of related to this was, I believe Kraken acquired the Bakkt, not exactly sure what that is. But it's the firm behind X stocks, right? Which is talk about tokenization of equities has been a major trend this entire summer. Coinbase has been fighting to have its own tokenized equity platform for a long time. You have Robinhood offering it to European users. You can buy it, of course, via Tron, BNB, Solana with Bakkt Finance and the X stock stuff. But like these are things that, and you were just showing it, Tyler. I mean, you were showing it on Hyperliquid with eventual stuff, with the private market ones. I mean, everything is going to be tokenized to a point where it's not going to matter so much to us when the new headline comes out that a thing is tokenized, right? It's law of diminishing returns in that way. But just the broader trend overall is up and to the right. Like I was looking at the RWA.xyz, which is one of the great analytics platforms for showcasing real world asset tokenization. If you just like look at the chart, I mean, it's obnoxious, like up and to the right. Like, if you scroll down just a little bit as that populates, I mean, look at the growth of that stuff. And that will look like a tiny little blip probably in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. I mean, this
is still only 15 billion. So like it can easily 10x or more from there.
Yeah. And it's fun to play around here. This is where I was tweeting a while ago about tokenized soybean commodities and stuff like that, just because I was on here, messing around. It's if you're interested in seeing like what types of things are already tokenized that you may not be aware of, just go here and like kind of click through. It's kind of a fun exercise.
Where do we click specifically?
Oh, geez.
The Invest tab? Where do I find, like, if I want to see if uranium is tokenized, is that in?
Yeah, it's probably in the commodity stuff, right? Yeah. So if you scroll down to the products, yep, that's where the J soy, that's what I was looking at earlier, which I think, is on Polygon. All sorts of stuff that you may not even realize is already tokenized. And you should probably envision that most of these products, maybe not these specific product offerings, but the idea of like tokenized soybeans, like that'll probably grow, if it's doing what it's supposed to do at present time. I don't know who's trading those things or operating, so I can't comment on whether or not it's fulfilling its mission. But should it be, then all of the tokenization benefits that Larry Fink and others are talking about, will naturally flow to those things, and it will just get bigger and bigger.
Now crypto natives have a choice. You can trade Fartcoin or tokenized soybeans.
Exactly.
Or both. It's your choice, folks. Well, we'll move on to some more headlines. Logan, thanks for taking us through that. A fun one. And I posted this about an hour before the show. Binance Jr. one who put this on my radar. Now you can, if you want to onboard your kids into crypto, you can do it in a crypto savings account with parent guardrails, all powered by Binance. Not sure if you had a chance to dig into this one. That's kind of the story. We just went through it. Curious for your thoughts on this one.
I love it. I made a joke to you offline about if you can't get a Trump account for your kid, you get a Binance Junior account. So this acts as a child account, basically. Like, so you would still be the master account. It's like a sub account underneath it, so you have some controls and stuff. But this is awesome. I think this whole trend of like getting younger folks, in this instance, children, I think the ages are between 6 and 17 that you can do this. But just younger folks, more access and exposure to stuff without them even realizing it's happening is awesome. I went to college at 18 or whatever and had no no assets at all. And that's, no knock on my parents or anything. They, with brothers and stuff, it's difficult to do this. So this doesn't solve for the fact that you need to have, the discretionary income or the disposable income available to help your child invest. That doesn't solve for that, of course, but just more making it easier to do so for your kid and just set it away and forget about it. It's incredible to have, like, if I would have had that stuff and then you wake up 18 years later and you don't even, you didn't touch it, you didn't sell it, you didn't do anything. It's, undoubtedly up hundreds of percents probably. Right. This is awesome. I'm all for it.
Yeah. Imagine just donking off a couple $100 into Bitcoin for your kid's account and you do it once or twice a year and you just don't think about it. They don't even necessarily need to know they have it. You can let
they don't need to know.
Like you don't want them in there trading it. And you don't necessarily want them going on chain. That's a different conversation. But as a way to save, and again, on an 18-year time horizon, imagine anyone who did this 10 years ago. I guess my call to action, Brian Armstrong, where are you? Where's Coinbase Junior? I'm not a Binance user. I'm a Coinbase user. I want Coinbase Junior. I want the option to do this. And of course, there's people in my replies, well, you can do this. Now you're introducing them to a DEX world, or a SEX world rather. And you could do this via self-custody. Of course you can. Right?
Yeah.
There's multiple ways you can do it. So it's the concept here more than perhaps the implementation. But also it's kind of nice just to have a packaged solution that you don't have to think about. And perhaps it's a little bit easier to manage.
Also, Binance Junior is a really good name.
It is.
So kudos to the brand team over at Binance for, it sounds kind of like an awesome soccer player, but also too, just a really good name, Binance Junior.
So Coinbase can't just go Coinbase Junior.
No, I think that's lame. Coinbase Kids?
That's little alliteration?
That's pretty good.
All right. You've got a starting point, Brian. And well, maybe just give us a kickback on the profitability over time. Going through a few more headlines. There's a big one out of Roham and Flow. I don't know if folks saw this. I posted about this one yesterday, and we are trying to get Roham on this show next week. So perhaps stay tuned for that. But a pretty long essay comes out and admits some of the mistakes that Flow and Dapper made over time, effectively just not aligning well enough with their diehard users and believers, and announcing a few major updates to try to fix that. Correct course. Flow Credit Markets is a new lending protocol that has a feature that helps you not get liquidated. There's some auto rebalancing that takes place as tokens dip closer to your liquidation price. And then another app called Peak Money, which is, my interpretation is it's a form of a neobank. It's effectively on-chain crypto savings with yield. And it's built on that. It's built along with Flow Credit Markets. And then perhaps the most interesting aspect of the announcement for those who are financially invested in Flow Dapper is the change to the Flow tokenomics and how they're going to start burning with every transaction and try to make Flow a deflationary token. So some new infrastructures, new applications, new economics. And he says, aligned at last. So I haven't seen a whole lot of chatter about this. In general, I'm a fan, and I want to talk to Roham more about this next week. So we'll perhaps save more deeper opinions for that show. But we're curious if you have any initial reactions, Logan.
I think this is just a continuation of the trend we were just discussing, right? Not super sexy in terms of the consumer application, but practical, real world, boring uses that are going to attract real dollars, which is important. And I think that's sort of alluded to here. So yeah, I mean, not much else to add. I'm all for admitting a mistake, if you will, or moving on and innovating and continuing to try and build stuff. I'm all for that.
Absolutely. Well, continuing to move on, yesterday was a huge day for prediction markets. So we had the MYRIAD Trust Wallet news. If you missed that, MYRIAD partnering with Trust Wallet and their 200 million users to be the first prediction market integrated directly in wallet. So that was blockbuster. Folks doing the road show out in Dubai, hitting everyone over the head with that. So we've got some nice articles on the crypto. Check out Farouk's page for more info on that. And then Kalshi, $11 billion valuation in their latest raise. So they raised $1 billion at $11 billion. I think the funds will be used for growth and for markets. Perhaps the most interesting aspect of this, we'll get into that in a second. So led by Paradigms, the Sequoia A16Z was in this as well. So their last round was a couple months ago at $5 billion. So they're over 2x in the past couple months. And of course, trading volumes have, I won't say more than doubled in that time. But shout out to Luana Lopez Lara 3L. She's now the youngest self-made female billionaire in history on the back of this race. Saw some folks chatting about this, but perhaps not enough. She is now past Taylor Swift and Lucy Guo to be the youngest self-made billionaire in history. It's pretty incredible.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. Surpassing Taylor Swift. I did not see this particular tweet, but I saw some others about it. We have to share this with Marka. Big Swiftie, of course. That crypto prediction markets of the future. T Swift is of another era.
She's old news. It's Luana's show now, and Luana does have a really cool story. I would love to host her. So of course, run against the odds on Thursdays, or even on FOMO. Would just love to talk to her. She was a ballerina. She was born in Brazil. Just has an incredible history. She met Tarek at MIT. I believe it would be just fun to hear her story firsthand. She's 29 years old. So a decade younger than me, and significantly wealthier after yesterday's raise. So Kalshi continues to crush it and go neck and neck with Polymarket here as the great prediction market proliferation continues. With about 10 minutes left in the show, there's actually kind of a lot of NFT news that maybe we can get into, go down the risk curve even further. Flogment is open, shout or blast from the past. One of the more notable memes. Oh no. We were briefly offline. We're back. One of the more successful meme stories of the 2024-2025 cycle. Oh no. OpenSea. I don't know what's happening here. I don't think this is on my end, folks, but there is a Flogment ongoing. It looks like it's in the guaranteed phase for those who are on the allow list. There's a few different ways you could get on. So go check your wallets if you've been sleeping on this. You might be eligible. It is a free mint. They're trading at 0.2 ETH. So $600 in this market, we'll take it. We'll take it every day. Logan, you are a fan of good art in NFTs.
Yeah, I love these. Do you remember how high the Solana ones were going? I mean, it was just an outrageous amounts during the time in which the Flog meme coin as well was just going bonkers. They're nice. They're very nice. I think. I
forget what that collection was called, but they were crazy. Like they were like 50K or something. I'm sorry, it was a very small collection, right?
Yeah, they were all like the one of ones released, I think, pretty slowly. These are super great. Love the free mint stuff. Is the pond? There it is. Yeah, still 32 SOL. That's pretty solid for this point. They're so good.
So that's about an ETH or so, roughly. I want to see the chart. Like, where do we find the chart for this bad boy? All right. Let's take a look at the weekly. Okay, that's too zoomed out. Let's look at the daily. Okay, well, that's crazy. Why do they do these things? All right.
I mean, it's gonna be crazy because the fall from grace was pretty swift.
So they spiked over 40K briefly. Yeah, so people were buying these for $40,000. 100 NFT sets. So the new one today is 5,555, I believe. So this is going to be substantially bigger. So don't get your expectations set too high for the floor price. But cool collection. If you like the art, go check it out. It's a free.
This would be one of the most successful mints of the year.
For
free to 0.2.
Oh yeah. What else was this year? Was Good Vibes this year?
I think so.
So that's the number one. That's the most successful, I'd say. Well, it's like, where do you count like Quine, the art blocks?
Yeah, true.
That's probably technically number one. So you have to be.
I mean, this is on the Mount Rushmore of 2025 NFT mints.
Oh yeah,
certainly.
Where is Klein these days? Oh wow, Klein's 5/8. How about that? And I think it minted out around here, so no one's up massively on this, but generative art NFT holding a $15,000 floor in December 2025. It's pretty good. I don't have the rankings in front of me, but this has to be a top 5 art blocks. So Fidenza is higher, Ringers is higher. I'm gonna guess Squiggles is lower than this, right? Yeah, it's 50%. Of course, the collection size is much bigger. So by market cap, it would be higher. But
speaking of Larva Labs, Tyler, something from earlier this week while we're on the NFT topic, I saw this tweet from the CryptoPunks account about the new MoMA director, including the CryptoPunks book, that really big book about punks that came out maybe a year or two ago. Inside his top 10 books of 2025. If you read the little excerpt, just it talks about how impactful CryptoPunks are. That's kind of crazy. MoMA is a super huge deal. And of course, punks have been in other museums, not to that ilk, but that would be, I don't know that that's foreshadowing in any way. Perhaps, I don't really know. But that would be a major news if punks found themselves at like MoMA for some reason.
Do you have this book?
I don't have the book. No. Maybe I should.
36 pages. Wow. So I don't have this. I have like 3 copies of the Beeple book, but I don't have the CryptoPunks book. 836 pages. So there's also Mickey Malka. He's kind of leaning in as the new steward, right? There's some event going on soon.
Well, next month, I believe the Node Foundation's.
That's right.
Yeah, so CryptoPunks IP, of course, sold again this year. Sold. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but as you noted, stewardship has changed hands. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Not to knock punks, of course, the market has not been super kind, right, to them in the last few weeks, months. I don't know what the floor is at this point in time.
94K. So they're right. They're just above.
Okay.
Bitcoin. They dipped slightly below.
Yeah. But yeah, this is another one where if you've got one and you don't need the funds, I think you just keep sitting on it. The hardest part about punks, in my opinion, and one of the reasons that it actually it sounds silly to say, but one of the reasons it feels okay to not own one right now is just I don't want to self custody a punk. I don't want to do it. It was too much stress when I did do it.
Just send it to your Binance Junior account.
Yes, exactly.
Binance take care of it for you. I joke, but in the punk world, it was a big day yesterday. So Token Strategy or Token Works, they rolled out Token Strategy finally. Now anyone can go and make a strategy token for their collection. They started with just Ethereum mainnet, so I think they're going to roll out to other chains as well. We saw a nice little pump. Punk Strategy up 37% on the day. A few others notched up as well. I think Punk Strategy, the highest it's been for a while. Yeah, I mean, objectively looking at this, and I do disclosure, I hold Punk Strategy tokens. It looks fairly bottomed. Of course, it's down 80% still from all-time high. So take it all with a grain of salt. But looks like it's trying to put a bottom in. This should be at least near-term bullish. But we will now see who is going to execute on this. How many of these are we going to get? Recursive, I believe, was the number 1 launch yesterday. Hit somewhere around $1.5 billion. It has since sold off, as a lot of these do after that first day of price action. But we'll continue to monitor this one as well. And then Pudgy's had some news. I don't know if folks saw this. They partnered with the NHL. So Pudgy Penguin in a pretty huge partnership. They are effectively partnering for the 2026 Winter Classic.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, fun collab. Makes sense for the Penguins. So Luca and team continue to push on despite market conditions. And I guess last on my list here, and we can wrap things up. There is a pretty big ICO taking place today. ICO Beast has been talking about this. I haven't seen a whole lot of other folks. Looks like Jupiter's running the space right now. YEET, which is the Humidify token, is launching on this new Jupiter DTF launchpad today. It's going to be a multi-phase sale. So there's a wait list, the wet list. It's going to be 6% of their supply to 50 million FDV. Jupe stakers are getting access to 2% at a 50 million. And then a public sale, they're selling 2% of the supply at 69 million FDV, but a $1,000 cap. So it's not going to be a whales game. It looks like it's going to be fairly decent distribution. Of course, first come, first serve. So it could be a bit of a gas war on this one. As I understand it, Humidify, new DeFi protocol on Solana. I haven't personally dug in. I've seen some positive reviews. ICO specifically was saying he thinks 69 million FTV is cheap for what he considers to be a top DeFi protocol on Solana. So expect some big demand for that one. It looks like the public sale isn't going to happen until tomorrow. So today is just for those on the allow list and those Jupe stakers, but perhaps we will see the demand levels there give some insight into what tomorrow would look like. And of course, now you've got a full day to research and dig into Humidify if you haven't already.
Jupiter's got its hands in everything. I think everybody's pretty well aware of that. I just looked at the price of the Jupe token, though, which if you're a Jupiter bag holder, you should not do.
It's tough, right? I mean, I feel like they're doing everything right. They just continue to improve their protocol, their launch pad. They have so many features. They just integrated prediction markets, right? Like they feel like they are the everything app. Like they have perps,
yeah,
but it's tough to pump the token.
Yeah, I mean, and they've even messed with tokenomics stuff, right, to try to improve this type of stuff. I don't have the exact details here, but they're the definition of trying. Like I don't know what else to say, and it's tough when you are trying as hard as you possibly are. You're looking to do everything in the best interest of your users and token holders, and not being rewarded for it. Definitely not. Down 77%, I think, on the year. Man, tough.
Yeah, indeed. Well, before we close, how are we looking on prices? So let's check back in. Big one, 924. Not bad. ETH hanging out 3080. Looks like I'm kind of right on the number for the Solana, down in a touch. So we'll check in on your Solana recommendation tomorrow, Logie. But as we wrap up here, I want to thank our listeners. As always, I want to thank our partners. Thank my co-host, Logan. We will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern for another episode of FOMO Hour. Until then, go make it a beautiful day.